Hey, and one live.
Well, that's debatable. Go ahead, plug our stuff. Do the thing.
Yeah, if you want to hang out with us, you can support us on Patreon, so you can get access to our Discord, so you can argue with
Watch
us.
us insult each other.
Yeah, or you can insult us or send memes, and you might get a hot take once in a while.
And if you pay us $1,000, we might even let you on the show.
No. I think we will let you on the show unless you're Hitler or something. I think I'd say that $1,000. I'd do that for $1,000.
For $1,000,
We know
I'd
your
let
price
Hitler
now.
on the show.
So now we know how much Ben's ethics are worth.
Yeah.
Ethics. It's just a show.
Morals.
It's not some great moral quandary. It's just
What? You wouldn't take $1,000 to debate Hitler?
I mean, how much would Hitler have to pay you to allow him on your podcast?
on my podcast.
Yes, you specifically, because we know my limit is $1,000 now.
I have no idea. Fortunately, moral problems which aren't grounded in human experience are insoluble. So there. I don't.
Not engaging with the hypothetical. You're a bad person.
Exactly.
You're a bad person.
You sound
can't
like
engage with hypotheticals.
you sound like almost all the politicians. So like, on principle, don't answer hypothetical questions.
It's like, well, then I'm not electing you, so go away.
I mean, that's a smart thing to do. Don't answer hypothetical questions. You don't know the answer to them.
That's just not fun. Come on.
It tests
You
your
wanna argue about
principles.
trolley problem? Come on.
Hey, I got a trolley problem. I got a really low kill count on that website at EG Link.
Yeah, but you cheated.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I think you lied. I was honest on mine, and I had a fairly low kill count.
Honest all the way through. The most controversial one is I would kill the one baby over the old people.
I don't remember what I picked for that one. I think I picked the old people, but I don't remember.
Well, I don't think there's. I don't think letting someone die is the same as killing them. If somebody's just going to die,
Therein lies the ethics of the problem.
well, it's just
Right, 'cause
virtue
you
ethics.
could do something to save the 5 people, but you didn't.
But
You could call 911
If
for that
it's-
person having a heart attack on the street, but you didn't.
well, I think there's a, as long as you're not like putting a gun to someone's head and pulling the trigger as the means of doing so, then yeah, you should. But actively killing somebody is not something you should do.
Some people just need to be shot.
But isn't that part of the whole thought experiment of the trolley
Yeah.
problem?
Oh yeah.
It's
Yes.
like, are you actively killing somebody by not doing
Abstaining is still a choice,
Mhm.
and therefore.
Yeah, you're just not as morally culpable as the person who put those people on the tracks.
I don't think there's any culpability at all if you aren't if
There's
it's
an
someone
argument to be
else's
made.
setup. Well,
There's several arguments.
Have them. Let's do it. Since we don't have another fucking topic, because I'm the only one that did the homework.
And you got a gold star just for that.
No, I didn't. I said I should, and you still haven't given it to me.
Check Discord, asshole.
Did you actually put one there?
Yes.
Yeah, you got it. You got one.
All right. I retract my
no,
previous
no,
complaint,
this is-
but let me check the quality of it.
Can you?
It's all
if you
happy.
can't read, this is not ethics part 2. This is no topic.
Which is turning into ethics part 2.
Was there
Ethics,
ethics
but
part
just
1?
not Dresden.
Oh,
Ethics part 1 was I screamed extremely loud during that.
That was young
Doesn't sound like
Alex, young frustrated Alex.
Oh, yeah. Like, to the point, I got a message saying like, I could hear you across the house. It's like, sorry.
All right. Even though it's shittily
wait,
drawn,
somebody
it's
was
animated, so I
inside the
accept.
house. It's like in a horror movie.
Well, she
I
does.
would guess
She does live with
might
someone.
be her husband,
Yeah.
but
Kind of like how
If you
you
want-
live with someone.
maybe
So if
like
you
her-
started screaming, they would probably hear it.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Say
Sound
the wrong
carries.
thing and double down on it for an hour until your frustration boils over and you scream so loudly in the not connected laundry room that people inside the house 3 rooms away can hear it.
Would you steal bread to feed your family? Fucking, I'd steal bread if I felt like it. Bread.
love
If
bread.
you
That's
have
lovely.
to, I figure if you have to, if you're starving, then I don't think it's stealing.
It's still stealing.
It is still
I mean,
stealing.
no, it's still stealing. It's just
it
definitionally it is still stealing.
Do I
yeah.
understand it? Sure.
I don't think
do
it's. I don't think it's unjust. I don't think it's stealing.
Sure. But it's still stealing.
But it's still stealing.
I don't think the right to property is absolute, though.
That's true.
It's-
We take property all the time. I'm gonna annex you. I think I've decided.
Oh,
I could use a
if-
West Coast home.
A winter home to avoid the.
Well, no, I would want to stay because I fucking hate the heat. So
But
I
you're
would
not
just.
eating. You're Americans. You're
Yeah,
not
so-
annexing anything. You're liberating.
That's true. I'm providing freedom and justice to my
Exactly.
new republic, or whatever.
Yeah. Did you guys see the post on Reddit yesterday about the Danish government had made all of Denmark in Minecraft, and within an hour, it had been blown up, and Americans' flags had been planted all over it.
Yeah,
That sounds about right.
The top comment was, "I didn't know Minecraft had oil." I found
You
freaking
know,
hilarious.
you didn't know that Denmark had oil.
We have oil, not
Yeah,
as much
no,
as we
Denmark
used to.
should have plenty. If only for the fact
Oh,
that they
yeah.
own Greenland.
We're coming for you. I forget. I actually just saw the video or just read a couple months ago about. Oh no! It was no. I'm mixing it up. It was when Trump wanted to buy Greenland.
They had the picture of Trump Tower on Greenland as I promise I won't do this. That was funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, if that were actually on the table, that wouldn't be a bad idea. What made it obnoxious is that it wasn't being sold. Obviously, I don't know. They're not making any more land.
Did you see Superman Returns? There are ways.
Is that the then with Kevin Spacey one?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
where you
Yeah,
throw a
well.
Kryptonian crystal in the ocean and you make a new continent. And if you wrap kryptonite around it, it's a kryptonite continent. It's just sensible, man.
Don't get me started on Norway and oil.
Oh,
Oh,
Nationalism
going to war.
speaking.
is that your
Finland's
Yeah.
going to war with Norway. You heard it here first.
press button speech?
No.
Here's an idea. What if somebody started a topic, or what's the topic that somebody could just bring up that you would just have a set speech for? Like you just have a whole spiel, goes on half an hour. You just start
Half an
talking
hour.
about off the cuff. Half hour
I don't know.
talk.
I do have a spiel for the Norway oil one, but I don't have half an hour's worth.
Oh,
I mean, I could probably make something up. I don't have something prepared, but like if it's attached to the Dresden Files, there's enough of that in my head that I could just go with it.
Yeah, but you
Um,
don't ever have to worry about that because the only people who talk about it are in this call right now.
It's like, but as for something beyond that, I don't know. Someone the other day said I have very strong opinions on things that don't matter because I had like a 5-minute spiel about Raisin Bran, but half an hour is still hard.
Raisin Bran is definitely not something to get up in arms about.
And it seems fine to me because it's like because it doesn't matter. I can have a very strong opinion, and I'm not wrong.
there's actually a party game where you have to pull a card, and it just has a topic on it, and you have to just pretend to be an expert on that topic for a set amount of time.
That sounds
You
like
just-
fun.
Yeah, it's like a
Sounds like EG would be great at them.
like
I
a
would be
pseudo
great at that.
academic thing, just
I
mocking
mean,
the whole.
it sounds like
expertise.
practice being.
I
a
can take any
politician.
position I need to make anyone upset.
Uh,
I will happily take whatever position is needed to make someone the most upset at any given time.
It is quite fun to do that and then to watch.
And just sputter it out, and you're just like, I don't give a fuck about any of this, but you are getting so upset. And that makes me happy.
Mr. Lover in the chat, what should be done with people who don't return their shopping carts to the stall? Is that a thing? That's not a thing.
Yes, I have
That's
also
the thing.
done that. It depends on how
it's
far the
totally a
walk is.
thing.
There was a King Soopers and when I was in college, and I have it was the closest one to where I lived, so it was the one that I was going to go to, but they did not have any stalls at all in the parking lot. So if I was to return it, I'd have to walk it all the way back to the store, and I just wasn't going to do that. So there
Yeah,
was
that's how it is
pockets-
over here. The big ones will have the stall, every few spaces in the parking lot type deal, especially if you go into a big complex where there's like a Lowe's across from a Home Depot. But the Key Food over here, they don't have that. I mean, it's a decent sized parking lot, but it's not huge. So if you want to take your shit to the car, you then have to walk it back. And I never use a cart anyway at this point because when I go, I'm just like fireman's carrying all my shit because I don't want to deal with the cart.
For us, it's more like we put what would be about $1 into a cart, and you get the $1 back when you return it.
Right. So if they had something like this, of like you have the cart and you get a quarter back or $1 or whatever, that's fine because that means that they would have cart stalls. They wouldn't.
And that was a major plot point in the terminal, I would like to point out.
It was.
Is that Tom Hanks?
Which plot point?
Yes.
I don't remember. I remember seeing that.
That's
movie.
how
I
he.
just
That's how
remember
he started getting
Tom
money.
Hanks-
Is he would collect the carts and return them, and then he could buy Burger King.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember Tom Hanks did an okay accent.
I mean, it was a non-specific Eastern European accent, so it was fine.
Probably
with me
was a
because
specific
I'm prejudiced.
European-
Well, it makes sense,
it's true.
because that's a German thing, and they do the same thing that we do with the returning them and card. People cheat now, though. It's not like we have plastic coins that can be put in instead of money, but people still return them.
because they want their plastic coin to be able to use elsewhere.
I guess, yeah.
I mean,
I've
yeah, the
never-
incentive still works. Like, I don't know. Like, I have no issues returning carts as long as there are cart stalls. But there's one point that I would have had a spiel for maybe 8 minutes about the fact that King Supers did not have cart stalls. Fuck that.
As
We
to
also
the
just
comment
have to say
about
price.
someone taking the parking spot that you shoveled out, that is grounds for assassination. You may legally kill that person, legally and morally, as far as I'm concerned. You shovel out that spot is yours forever.
Yeah, we should make this like an advice column. Ask us questions.
It's just going to end with me telling you to kill people.
Each
And
is
if
I
I
do
different.
not
was
want to be
around for
talk about
$1,000.
legally culpable. I do not want to be legally culpable by silence for the assassination of parking
because
stall person.
Just because you
Silence
live in
makes sense.
California, you don't have to
Even
deal with
Prius
snow.
drivers.
You don't understand. You don't have to deal with snow. You're
What's wrong with Prius drivers?
Are you a Prius driver?
I know, I don't drive.
He's not a driver.
Oh, like you have public transportation.
Yes.
He has horse and buggy that the government provides.
Environmental things and so forth.
You mean like a log flume?
No, I
That'd be
mean,
awesome. I want to commute on a log flume. That'd be great.
It's like all those little canals you see with people's houses right on them, and they could fit maybe one boat at a time going one way. Usually,
yeah,
I think it's in
Denmark is like the
the
Venice of the
Netherlands.
North, like where that's all how we
Denmark is the.
we just
That's
sail
probably
down
true.
the street.
Is that sounds like it could be true? There's a lot of islands in Denmark.
It's
well, they own Greenland.
I was going to say, no, that sounds like some sort of Danish propaganda to try and get people to come there, and they get very disappointed when they just show up. But
When their visas are confiscated and have to go work in the tundra mines or something.
no, the oil fields, apparently.
Oh, the oil fields.
Yep.
You got to go work near burn pits.
Burnpits is
I mean,
actually a beautiful town.
You do
in
get
Germany.
free healthcare in exchange. So I mean, it's fair.
Wow. You're just sneaking that one right in there, aren't you?
I mean, gotta
It's
represent.
just my
right?
joke. Burn pits. Isn't this a
No,
lot of
I
town
got
in
it.
Germany?
It's-
It's a good
yeah,
joke. It's a
I
funny
got it.
joke.
It was
pretty
very
funny.
funny,
Thank you.
which is why I responded to it the way I did.
But
You
not at
noticed
all.
my uproarious laughter.
Oh yeah, Lord of the Rings thing we talked about before.
No, we were doing fine. We went 14
no.
minutes, and now you're going
Let's
to
do
make me actually
terrible
angry.
advice column.
You're angry. It was just a thing I saw that I thought was interesting. You know how Amazon they paid $250,000 for Era 2 only, right? For the rights to
Second Age.
the Second Age.
You mean $250 million?
Yeah.
Because $250,000, fucking, I think we could have crowdfunded that.
$250 million.
Yeah, whatever it was, and it's like $500 million for this whole first season or some bullshit.
Yeah, but they've set like $1 billion for it. But what's interesting is what the Tolkien estate wanted was like around $2 billion for rights to everything, and then they just paid $250 for Second Age. But some investment group have just bought the rights for everything for $750,
Yes, I saw, and they want to do other movies on the individual characters, or at least that was in the
I
one
don't
of the
want.
whatever's.
No, you don't need a Gandalf spinoff.
Yeah, no, you're gonna get a Gandalf and a Gollum movie, and
The Book of Radagast.
yeah.
No,
That's gonna be great
Why?
because
No.
they will pillage everything.
It was just what I thought was interesting was the disparity in value there was like 250 just for Second Age, and then someone swoops in for 3 times as much, gets
Because the
the
valuation of
way
all this
better.
shit is complete speculation.
Yeah.
It's more than the bullshit of Wall Street or anything. It's just like I think I can make $3 billion, therefore 750 million is nothing, or 2 billion is still worth it to make another 1 billion in profit. Like blah blah.
I mean,
blah.
the thing of it is if this was 2010 or even after the Hobbit movies, and you told me that some group had bought all this shit, but Peter Jackson was going to head it up still, and they were going to get writers that actually like this shit, I'd be like, yeah, fucking you could probably make a fuck ton of money doing this.
Mhm.
Now, no, you are throwing this away, and you are going to make the same shitty shit that Disney's been doing for the last 10 years.
I doubt anything's gonna be great or anything, but I mean Peter Jackson was already starting to lose his touch by like it was getting too much. Like Hobbit was not good. Like none of the Hobbit movies were good.
The first one was
Oh, he
fine.
wasn't supposed to do that. He was just supposed to kind of like
Yeah.
oversee
But
it.
that
and
was supposed to
then
be Guillermo
everything
del
fell
Toro,
apart. Right. Guillermo was supposed to do it, and
Which would have been pretty
the
interesting.
studio fuck
Yeah.
around
Oh,
and this, that, and the
I
other
forgot
thing.
about that detail. That would have been great.
That would have been like that weird Harry Potter movie that was suddenly. That's
The
suddenly
third
had like
one,
a
Prisoner
lot
of
of like, the
Azkaban.
third one. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Alfonso Cuarón, or however you would say it.
You telling me? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, that was a weird movie for a Harry Potter movie. The rest
It was good. And something like that, I think, would make The Hobbit really interesting. I have not read the book. I don't care too much about whether it would stick to the source material because I don't know the source material very well. But that type of weird atmosphere would have been better than the bullshit that happened to the second and third Hobbit movies. Like the first one was kind of fine. Kind of contained. It had like a feeling to it that like I can pinpoint like that's what that memory feels like, but it's just like the other two is just utter dog shit.
I mean, the problem I have with Jackson too, like since someone says it wasn't his fault in chat. The problem I have with Jackson even started happening in Lord of the Rings, just not as much. He goes crazy with the 3D like with the special effects, like too much, and it was at an okay level in the third movie because it's getting progressively more and more through the Lord of the Rings, and then in the Hobbit he just went crazy with it, and it's too much and it doesn't look good, and
yeah, well, it's a similar thing, if you could have his investment, Lord of the Rings version, that trilogy, and good writers and people who are going to be like what they should have done with Lucas with the prequels, like, hey, let's tone down some of the CGI shit, let's maybe focus on the, that kind of stuff, go with the minis again, do all the practical stuff that they did, because they did a lot of that shit for the Hobbit too. But it also, the problem with CGI these days is it is overused to a degree, but a lot of these people, I mean, like Disney gives these people 2 months to work on this shit, for instance, and then people turn to them as like, oh, the CGI shows shit. It's like, you gave them no time to do anything. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's like there's this movie from the Ultraviolet, I think it is, from the early 2000s.
Oh, I remember that movie. That was weird.
It has the most awful, like, it has a really high budget relatively, and it has really awful special effects. And I saw some, I think it's Corridor Crew on YouTube, compare Ultraviolet to some other movies of the same era. And like what they concluded, since they work in that field, is whoever made the special effects for Ultraviolet, given the budget, just did not have the time they should have had. Right. Because if you compare it to other things from the same time, there were some good things coming out that looked good. And Ultraviolet looks awful. Like, it's so bad.
I mean, practical effects are great and everything, but they don't inherently make everything better. There's plenty of old shit you can see that looks terrible with just straight up practical effects.
Well, what I think is lacking is the writing, right? I don't mind that
easily,
right? So And the problem with writing is that very often writing is just falling back on lowest common denominator. Write like you talk. Just do whatever comes to mind or whatever sells. And that's an endemic problem. Like you go back 150 years and you get a bunch of really cheap melodramas. You go back 100 years, or I guess 100 years now, and you get just a bunch of lurid stories. I guess this is also lurid stories about gangsters, right? Those dime novels that Batman grows out of that. There's always this cheap entertainment, and nowadays the cheap entertainment is such big budget, mind blowing spectacle, and these big tentpole releases. I think there's just so much to sift through. Living in the present, that's why I like all these old movies, because sure, there's a lot of crappy old movies, but they're easy to avoid. You don't have to watch the bad ones.
You're putting your entertainment on the survivorship bias. Like if you've heard of it and it came out from the 40s,
exactly,
then it must be good.
I would.
Well, yeah, it's like music. It's like music. When everyone says how great the '80s have been, it's like, well, yeah, you've sifted out all the shit music and gotten the 1,000 songs that are great.
Not necessarily if you've heard of it, but it's at least a short list to work from. Like I can work from the AFI Top 100, and half their top comedies are terrible, very, very dated.
Oh, but comedy is a weird thing. Like it could just be that it's not your style.
I suppose that's true. But
so if you're looking at something like dramas, I think you can more clearly evaluate the quality of writing without being distracted by, well, this just isn't the thing that I enjoy. I think that's just the way I look at it in general. Like you can evaluate a drama compared to another drama a little bit better that way. But
that's fair.
Past, since the 2000 probably, there's been so much on the imagery and the spectacle and the explosions and things like that in movies that the purpose of the movie and the story sometimes does fall away. Some people are able to handle that just fine, and it can be that explosion was really important because of story reasons, but there's way too many that are just like, but it has a big explosion, the building is no longer, therefore we care, and I don't.
Right.
When it comes to The Hobbit, I think it could have been 2 good movies instead of 3 pretty bad movies. They fill in stuff that's not from The Hobbit. I don't know why Legolas has to be there.
No, yeah, things like. But again, you could. They went through that area. It's not like if he makes a cameo, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't need to be that he's jumping on top of dwarf heads and fucking crumbling bridges and all this shit. It's like they took the worst part of his superhero aspects from the original and dialed it up to 11.
He was already probably the least interesting member of the whole Fellowship, right? At least,
and in a way, it works for him because he's thousands of years old. He even sees people like Gandalf as young, a teenager. Yeah. The same way Treebeard does.
Yeah, the stoicism, especially compared to him to Gimli, and it's like, right. I really liked that interaction.
But then you pair him with Gimli, and that just it's gold.
One of the. I think that works in that story as a kind of expression of why the elves can't be the movers and shakers, why the men are blessed, and Tolkien's Legendarium, that men are blessed with mortality, is how it's put, right? And because of that, and this is something very influential in all sorts of fantasy literature, this particular aspect that because humanity moves so much quickly and dies so quickly, they're the ones who end up building empires and having ambitions and doing schemes, whereas elves tend to kick back because there's not the motivation to get something done. And that's something that you see in a lot of very interesting fantasy settings. I don't know. I love the Legendarium because it's a work of such imagination and scope and epic, and it's written with that kind of thickness that a lot of people criticize. They want very quick. The very quick, cheap entertainment, and that has its place. It's always around. But the Lord of the Rings, there's such a richness and such a moral vision to the universe, and it's so weirdly coherent, even when it shouldn't. Like I'll defend Tom Bombadil, that kind of thing. That it's a shame to make it just another franchise and look at it as just another franchise to be made into endless movies and TV shows and. action figures. I don't know. Do they still make action figures? Is that still a thing?
Yes,
Probably.
still make them.
I know they make Funko Pops.
Oh,
Well, yes, they
right.
make Funko Pops, but no, they make action figures of fucking everything now. Still, that hasn't changed. Nobody really buys them as much, but that hasn't changed. They make
Well,
them.
as people
there's-
who do
there's
buy
no
them,
more
it
Toys R
probably
Us.
drops thousands of dollars on them. I mean, this is how, was it Games Workshop for Warhammer 40K and all that? It's like the amounts that people have spent.
Well, I was
on
going to say
figures.
Warhammer is one of those weird. It's semi niche in that the people just keep pumping into it.
They're relying on the idea of sunk cost of like, I have $3,000 of figurines and I can keep going and make this worth it if I just buy another few hundred and then another few hundred.
Well,
I'm
I'm
making
sure
up
some of them
numbers still.
actually like it. I don't imagine most of these people with something like Warhammer are actually looking to sell their collection one day in the same way that when we were kids, fucking Pokemon cards and Beanie Babies were, well, they're going to be a great
Yeah,
investment.
there's not a speculation crisis, right? Yeah, I don't know if there's a speculation crisis on Warhammer.
I mean, the people who drop thousands of dollars on Legos, they keep that shit. They build it, and admittedly, they kind of just stuff it somewhere. Usually, nobody's going to undo their Lego and rebuild it again, so it's a one-time thing. But
For the adult hobby,
it's worth it to them.
Yeah.
So fine, they'll pay $1,000 for a replica for a Death Star and build it, and great, and then that's it. Or we should make Dresden coin. Now that I think about it.
The new crypto scam.
Yeah.
Crypto's not a scam, right? Crypto's totally not a scam.
No, it's perfectly legitimate and blockchain, man. That's all you have to say, right? Blockchain, and
Right.
your argument's covered, something like that. Oh, can we make an NFT
No.
What?
We're not.
of what?
We're not,
No, of Andreas's face?
we're not bad enough artists to make an NFT. All those NFTs are hideous.
Hey, if we're making an NFT of me, you can't say them.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't talking about you.
First of all, yes, we can.
Yeah,
Aw.
we reserve that right.
Poor Andreas.
Oh, we can make an NFT of his unmade bed. It's perfect.
No, okay. No, I'll give
It
him
sells
that.
itself.
I'm no longer on your side, Andreas. I'll give him that. No.
I like it. All right. How much should we price it for? 10,000.
What's the price for someone coming on the podcast? Like, should we double that then?
For the Andreas's bed NFT? Yeah, easily. All right, so $2,000.
Can we do it a bidding war?
You can make NFTs where you only get access to the Discord if you own the NFTs, and then the people who buy them, they can sell them on. So when we get really popular, they'll be worth a lot because people want to be on the Discord, and we'll only make 500 of them.
I just saw this thing about a guy who got divorced, and in the divorce settlement, they agreed that he would keep all his cryptocurrency, and she would keep the bulk of his retirement and investments and income and whatever.
Oh,
Wise.
And this is crypto is doing really well, and
Yeah.
now he's asking Reddit, "Hey, is there any way I can renegotiate this now that crypto's
No.
down?"
I mean, not as far as I understand divorce settlements. Jesus Christ.
That's not the way things.
That's why you shouldn't have
Crypto bros.
have told people about his crypto.
With divorce,
investment.
you have to admit your assets or your.
Yeah, but they can't track it, so fuck him.
I mean, that's true. If he just had it on a
If he's just looking
SSD
out for
somewhere and fucking kept it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they find out, then he gets fucked
Well,
over
he
later.
did get
But
divorced. That might
Yeah.
have been part of the reason.
because it probably was.
You know, I'm not even. That's not even a joke. It's like I bet he watched Joe Rogan, and I don't know. He seems like I don't know. That's just so many
making
life
a
decisions
lot of
involved in it.
assumptions.
Man,
But
I don't know.
Real-
It's an
realize
archetype.
He's a
Joe Rogan
California
was
liberal. Of course, he's making
connected
assumptions.
to NFTs.
California liberal.
are you saying he's wrong?
Yes.
I don't really align on the political spectrum. That sounds so hipster. I
It
better
does.
just shut up
It
now.
sounds like a California liberal.
It does.
Oh man.
Man, they don't really have a political party for me, man.
Green Party isn't left enough for him.
No, it's the other Green Party. It's the weed
Hey,
party now.
eh, The most left you got is still pretty right by my standards. So
Yeah, I was gonna say the most left you've got has gulag, so that's it's two sides
Well,
same coin type of deal.
the most left we got
You're a big believer in the horseshoe theory, I
it's
take
kind of
it.
like formerly kind of like let's go Soviet Union kind of like, but not anymore. But that's like where their roots are.
Well, I mean, you're still part of the Soviet Union, right? So you would know.
What? No. Not yet, anyway. But with everything going, who knows?
Yeah.
Though, but what we've seen in Ukraine, I don't think the Russia has the competency to take.
Well, I'm sure you can
take
scare them away with your kebab pizza.
To be fair, I was going to say I don't think you have the competency to fend them off, so it's a lose-lose.
I mean, I don't, but I'm
Finland
sure
does.
someone can.
Finland will do it.
Yeah.
They have to. Go
Finland will do it.
They have to go to Finland to get to us, so we're good. They have really scary snipers.
There are other
I was gonna
ways.
say,
Okay.
Nah,
They could take the pass through
Military technology
Moria.
has not advanced since the Winter War of the 1940s. Okay,
Not out there,
not
apparently.
in the not out there. Oof. You need some aloe for that burn, Andres.
no, it's
was
kind
gonna
of
say,
You
Andres
can just
doesn't
walk
care.
outside and rub it on ice.
nice. Man, it's been like 30 plus for a week and a half.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty
down.
cold
Say
out there,
that-
isn't it?
Say that in normal speak, because that is not a real temperature.
You're just talking about snow of 30 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
There's a
It's been
great
like
meme.
86 plus, between 86 and 90, 95, something like that.
There's a pretty great meme I saw about Fahrenheit is how people feel, Celsius is how water feels, and Kelvin is how the molecules feel. That's like, oh, which I take as a definitive proof of the superiority of the imperial system. It's based on human comprehensible measurements.
What did he?
I mean,
just
it
say?
is in degrees. I don't know about the rest of it, but when it comes to temperature, it really is. 100's hot and 32's cold. That's really not hard to figure out.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, it's 30.
Oh.
What the fuck does that mean?
0 is cold.
Okay, so we.
Right,
so
but
again,
our
it's
cold
only
gets
cold if
colder
it's
than your
freezing?
cold.
I was going to say the
just-
difference between 0 is cold and 30 is hot versus 32 is cold and 100 is hot. One of those is far more comprehensive as a combination.
Yeah, one of them does give more of an impression of like how dangerous it is to exist. And anyways, like 0 might be cold to you, but that's because it doesn't get very cold in Europe. Our cold gets much colder. It will drop below 0 Fahrenheit
It's pretty
regularly.
I think it's pretty cold. Like England's an island nation, right?
And it has the North Gulf Stream or something? It just like dumps hot air onto Europe. It's the only reason that it is really.
I was going to say Britain's probably the mostly in Ireland and all them. They're mostly rainy. They don't really have to deal with snow as they in
Right.
some places. Obviously, they do, but they're not
Yeah,
like
no.
fucking Siberia.
I think what we have had last winter was minus. If I translate it to Fahrenheit, -5.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ours is on ours is like -20.
Yeah, see, that's ridiculous. It's -20. It's like, stop being so fucking dramatic. It's not really what it is. If you see -20 on one of our thermometers, you know fucking it's the
it's the
day
What
after
did we do?
tomorrow scenario.
no, is it
That's just thinking about tomorrow.
doesn't it get like that in Minnesota? They have a term for it,
Yeah.
like the winter hole or something. I don't know what it's called. The hole of winter. I don't know. I don't live in Wisconsin.
The whole of it.
I just assume that's like the
Wait, you said
some sort of
Minnesota
storm
and then you
hole.
said I don't live in Wisconsin. What do those have to
Minnesota's
do with
not-
each other?
It's the same thing. They're the same place.
No, it's not. One is cheese
Oh,
and one is
hold
cold.
on. Anyway, if you're in the Wisconsin area that I lived in for a while, it was right next to the lake, and that actually made it more temperate. Like it didn't get very cold because the water kept it more or less level. I mean, there were times that there were some very hard storms, but not nearly the same as like Minnesota, and like it dumped 20 feet of snow. Everyone's locked in their houses and everything. Like day after tomorrow type of scenarios. I'm pretty sure that does happen at least once a winter.
Yeah, one of my friends who live really far up in the north of Sweden, like he's so far we can see the northern lights when he walks the dog. He had like
that's pretty awesome. I'll give you that. That makes me long.
Well, he
for
can't. It has
Scandinavia.
nothing to do with
I
that.
can't.
Fair enough.
One of my friends can. But he had like -40 C, and it's actually exactly the same in Fahrenheit. Minus 40 C is also minus 40 Fahrenheit. Because I wanted to look what the conversion was, but it's the same.
Right.
Because after a certain point, they were like, "Fuck it, we give up. We're not going lower than this in Celsius, because otherwise, no one's going to understand us even more."
I want to respond to this comment. It was like, yes, I know they're the same latitude and they're extremely north, but they have the Gulf Stream, and that dumps hot air taken from the Caribbean all the way up to Northern Europe. And if you compare their temperatures over the averages over the years and everything, it's actually very warm and temperate compared to most of the U.S. and North America. Like the latitude is really high, and they start getting the like the midnight sun and stuff at like in Scotland, and it's crazy. But the temperatures they do not get as cold as we experience regularly in North America.
I mean, I've been saying for years that Andreas is full of hot air, so
Full of something.
I mean, I'm also we're those the most southern northern country, right? Like, and global warming has been making it way more like we barely get snow anymore a lot of the time. Like we do like only a couple of days now for the past 5-6 years. Like when I was a kid, it was a month or two of snow. So it has gotten hotter here. Also by we're not built for this kind of heat like that we have had for the last couple of weeks here. Like it's brutal.
Yes, Cody, I did say the joke, be faster than you because I am better than you. That's why I'm on the screen.
But the Cody's was directed at the director instead of me.
Doesn't matter if he's giving me credit. I'm taking it.
And he's thinking I'm an expert on anything.
Which I much prefer.
I was going to say, you should have seen her during the pre-show. She was about to hang herself with her own headphones because she was spinning around in her chair. You should not consider her an expert on anything.
I am a child.
You are a child. Also, is your Starbucks cup like Christmas already? Because that's kind of early.
I got it for free when they did a Christmas promotion, and it's just a decent cup, and so I kept it.
I was at Costco literally yesterday, and
literally
there's a Christmas display. Literally. I know that's hard to believe. There's a Christmas display up. They're selling Christmas stuff. Like
see, they started in the Walgreens, and
it's like Filipino Christmas.
I think it was TJ Maxx too. They have Halloween stuff up at least, which is still early normally for them to be doing that. I mean, but I'm kind of happy to see something else early as opposed to just Christmas.
I don't get it. How can you put up Christmas stuff before we don't have Halloween? But still, like,
well, that's your problem.
You're lost.
How do you?
You're fucking lost.
Well, we kind of do now because people like all the shops take it in because it's an excuse to sell shit. But we don't culturally. We don't. It's just
culturally you have nothing.
Over the last, we have more culture than you. Like,
no, you don't. You really don't. Not only do we have more culture, we imported more culture. You're just Scandinavian.
We took a lot of good parts of cultures and then claimed them as our own. And I took a picture of the Halloween decorations I saw in Costco on July 18th, going like, it's starting already. And I'm so excited.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I saw Christmas decorations like the week after that. And it's just like, it's the season. And after Labor Day, I'll start being able to buy pumpkin pies there weekly.
Which I guess means that for the next, while we weren't recording, we can officially talk about the Muppet Christmas Carol.
No. Yeah. The next one, we have to talk about the book that EJ got a good gold star for. But we can put that on the Christmas list.
Didn't I also watch that?
You're about to get a tin, some other celestial body for making me read this.
You weren't a fan.
Save the book talk for next
No book.
No book.
No, it's for her mentality on what comedy is. And she reads this book and thinks it's the greatest thing in the world.
I know the jokes are bad, but that's what makes it funny.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's such a relief. I was so worried I was going to savage like your favorite book. Okay.
I mean, it is one of my favorite books, but the funny part of it is how bad it
is. It was an interesting read. I will say that.
The Muppet Christmas thing. Didn't we do that already? I watched that movie, and that's right. It was for the.
You watched the movie, but we didn't get to actually discuss it.
Because I didn't
watch.
Okay. That's actually exactly why.
It was my movie. That's what I picked.
It was good.
It should. Listen, it's an excuse to watch it again. It's good.
I'm not gonna watch it again.
No, it's one of the 3 Christmas movies I will watch every year without fail.
Die Hard.
No, Die Hard's not on there. No. Muppet Christmas Carol, Jingle All the Way, and It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life is a wonderful movie.
Die Hard is for sure one I watch every Christmas.
Yeah, but I don't give it. I've seen Die Hard a grand total of 2 times, and while I'm happy to wade in on the it being a Christmas movie argument, especially because it pisses off my best friend who thinks it isn't one, I don't care about one way or the other. To watch that movie at Christmas, or I mean, it's fine. I enjoyed it, but
That's a pretty good argument of why it's not a Christmas movie. What you're just saying.
there's thousands of Christmas movies I don't watch every year. I will happily put on Muppet Christmas Carol right now if I felt like it. I don't care that it's a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah, that is such a good movie. Such a good.
There's
movie.
only like 3 movies I watched every year
Scrooged is a good movie.
at specific times. It's V for
Which is
Vendetta in November. It's Die Hard 1 and 2. And Dread for Christmas as well.
Dread for Christmas.
I like the
Dread for
Stallone one.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Dread for Christmas sounds like a TBS marathon when everyone's on vacation. They just buy the rights to a movie for a month and show it.
And not the original one, the good one, the one from 2012.
Oh
It-
yeah,
I
no,
mean-
of course.
Did I miss them? There was not Christmas in that movie. It's a
There's
great
no-
movie.
It's only a me thing. It's because so it was a Christmas. I get sick around Christmas a lot for some reason. So one
You have a
Christmas I was
terrible
home
immune
alone,
system from
really
living
sick,
in
and that
squalor.
movie had just come out, and it was on Netflix, so I watched it, and I just watched it every year since.
It's a great movie. Don't let me
is a great
dissuade you
movie.
ever from watching it. It's just like
I
It
feel like
happened
it's
this summer.
it's got a lot of the themes of Christmas. There's a spirit of giving. You know, he shoots a lot
Giving
of people. He
bullets
gives them
and-
justice.
Yeah, I'm not saying it makes sense or something other people do. It's just something I do.
Listen,
And
any
then-
excuse
and
to
of
watch a good
course,
movie is fine. I would happily make the Lord of the Rings trilogy a Christmas movie if I could actually get away with watching it all through. I mean, I just watched the special editions again over the last week because I was
Mm.
able to, because I wanted to enjoy myself. But
And-
if I could make that a holiday thing and just sit there the day before Christmas and watch all 3 of those movies, for instance, I would happily do that.
are you not able to because family gets in the way?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do when there's other people around, and
See,
Yeah.
this is the
and then the other
Don't
day, the
have
2 days are mostly
family.
devoted to them.
I don't know.
Yes, I'm sorry. We not all of us are, you know, you.
It's like my Christmas breaks, I hide away in my apartment and I don't go out except for Indian takeout.
Indian takeout of all things.
Specific.
it's-
Well, again, it's the one
lovely.
that's closest to our house. I don't have to go anywhere.
But no, it's
Is that really the reason?
wonderful.
Yes,
And it's really close. And so
Ah,
like,
okay, so it
it
is the
is-
reason.
yes, it's the reason. What did you say? It's a mile from your house? Not even.
not
10
even
minutes?
no, it's like 2 blocks.
She's
It's
dead,
I
so
love
we
it,
can't even
but
ask her now.
it is really good food. I love Indian food.
I don't
And it's
know
really
how-
close.
I don't know how far a mile or 2 blocks is, but I'm gonna pretend like it's right next to you.
Depending on how fast you go, it's a 10 to 20-minute walk.
Yes, but
That
of course
right
I
next
take
to
my
you?
car.
That's so far away.
Well, actually, it's probably more like a 15 to 25-minute walk if you're just actually walking.
Hmm.
That's far though. That's not close.
Well, they used to make you. The reason I'm extrapolating this is because when you had to run the mile, it was considered, you know, relatively quick if you were doing it in, you know, 8 minutes or under, and that was running. So, you know, double it if you're walking, at least.
Yeah, I usually think of like if you are walking a mile, it should take you like somewhere 15 to 20 minutes, depending.
Sounds about right. And since there's always traffic lights and street corners and
Right.
yada yada yada. 2 blocks shouldn't even take you 5 minutes unless they're New York City blocks.
Well, so I want to say they're 2 blocks because they're 2 continuous pieces of sidewalk, but they are kind of oddly shaped and they might be a little bit longer than a standard block. But look, whatever it is, I get in my car, I drive for less than a minute, I pick it up, I drive back less than a minute. They have wonderful garlic naan. There's so much garlic it like hits you in the face. It's perfect.
I'm
I,
kinda
uh,
hungry.
I go to Mod Pizza with my wife, or used to a lot, and I would tell them, "Give me quadruple garlic," and then I tell them to double it, and it was amazing. Apparently, I smelled like garlic for 3 days after that, though, like
Yeah,
literally out of my
I
pores.
But
bet.
Ben, you live in America. You have a Costco, and Costco has cheap big pizzas.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Sure. And
uh,
hot dogs.
mod it gives you a lot more variety of toppings, and it allows for moderation in portion size. Because I could eat a Costco pizza, but I'm also trying to lose weight.
That's
So
why you make one pizza last 3 days.
no, I could not do that. I am controlling my
Weak-willed.
environment. Yeah. So you work around the weak will and fix it.
I mean, it's my dream to eat all of Costco's food.
You really need to get better dreams.
It's just so cheap and it looks pretty decent.
I mean, listen,
It is really good.
Costco pizza is perfectly adequate pizza. I enjoy it, especially considering I live in a state that's known for their pizza. But there is so much pizza out there, especially in this country, that if you ever come to America specifically to eat the Costco pizza, I will shoot you.
I mean, you can come to America and then have like a pizza tourist type of experience,
do that.
right? But the
What?
problem, like, if I'm going to buy pizza, I'm going to buy Costco pizza because everything else is like, yeah, it has different toppings, but it's not better, and it's like 4 times the price. It's just that, or I make my own, which
I
love
wanna
doing.
try Five Guys as well. That
It's
shit.
okay. It's not. I mean, it's good. I won't turn it
It's
down.
good if you want fries because they give you a fucking entire bag for yourself.
And they have like a spicy
massive.
salt on it or something. That is nice. It's
Well, yeah,
just,
you
like,
can ask for
it's okay.
that.
I thought
if
In
you-
and Out
you
was
don't
better
have
in
to.
terms of.
In-N-Out is
burgers.
another place I want to try, but isn't that only like the south of?
No,
Well, they
it's,
just moved
the
into the
west.
Denver region. So.
Mostly the west, so nothing east of Denver, I'm pretty sure.
Like, 'cause I don't think I guess Ben must have In-N-Out, right?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I used to. Again, trying to lose
Yeah.
weight. It's such a sad story.
As we're
Trying to
talking
lose
about
weight when you
hamburgers.
live where this In-N-Out, it's a struggle. I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. What do we have as burger places? Five Guys, Shake Shack,
I've never had
Sonic,
chicken.
and Jackbox, and not Jackbox.
Wendy's, another place I want to try. That's we don't have that here.
Well, everybody fucking has a Wendy's.
Wendy's is not. Wendy's has a good marketing
White
and
Castle.
a good social media
Castle
presence.
too,
Yeah. White Castle. If you want a steamed hamburger with onions on it,
The White Castle is so weird, and it's. I mean, it's only in the mid West, as far as I can tell, because people.
no,
who I work
we
with
have
are
it
from-
here. I promise you.
Okay, so maybe it just hasn't made it westwards towards Denver very much, because people I work with that are from Ohio are reminiscing about having White Castle. It's like, that is so weird. It
My
doesn't
brother
taste
loves
like
White
meat.
Castle. I had to scrape all the onions off and give them to him, and then I could maybe. I mean, you could go through because they're yay big little square burgers,
Right.
but there's these steamed hamburgers with a fuck ton of onions on them.
Their texture.
It
was
makes
so
no
wrong.
sense as to how this became a business model.
Mm.
I mean, don't the American chains I've had the what we have here is we have Domino's, we have McDonald's, we have Burger King, we have KFC, and I think that's
You
about
don't
it.
have Popeyes?
No
Ah,
comments.
shit.
I was
Popeyes
gonna
is
say
so much better.
Popeye. There's only. I mean, the fact that they have one fried chicken place is probably a miracle in and of itself.
I will say it's pretty like I've had some different stuff from KFC, and the actual chicken pieces in the bucket is quite good, but it is outrageously expensive.
Well, you also probably have
Yes.
better versions of all those because Europe has higher, food standards.
last
than
time
we
I
do.
had
we get pink
KFC
slop, and you actually probably get meat.
Last time I had KFC, I genuinely wasn't sure if I wasn't eating plastic. It was
Oh no,
so bad.
It was really good. Like at least the chicken pieces were super good, and the more like the chicken burgers or whatever wasn't really that different from any other place that has chicken burgers.
And especially since we have an entire culture, down at the bottom of our country where you can get fantastic fried chicken. It's like, why can't you do that more? I mean, you can find it. You can find decent barbecue and fried chicken up here, even if you go to a place that actually dedicates itself to it. But obviously, it's going to cost a little more.
Fried chicken is just a national food, and like yes, it has its regional variants, or it's going to be stronger in the South or whatever. But no, it is an American food.
Well, yeah, it's like barbecue. It's going to have all the regional things, but it is pretty.
That's another thing you can't really. I'm sure there's some restaurants that do it, but American style barbecues, like Southern and stuff, like we don't really do that here.
Well, I can't imagine you have much. I can't imagine you have much Mexican food either, comparatively.
And whatever you think you have as Mexican food, I have my doubts about.
Yeah, no, we don't have. Like, I actually saw a post on the Danish subreddit the other day where someone from America was like visiting here, and he's like, I'm really craving some Mexican food. Why don't you have it?" And he took him to a Mexican place, and it was like, it was pretty bad. It's like, why don't you get some good Mexican food? It's like, okay, let me try to explain it. Like, you know how we have all this pretty good Middle Eastern food, right? Yeah, it's really good. Right? Yeah, that's because it's pretty close, right? Now, Mexico's right next to America, so like. That's why you have good Mexican food.
Totally,
Yes, that helps, but we also have good everything. You can go to find good every kind of food at least somewhere in America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, benefits of it being a very large country, but like if like especially in one of the larger cities like New York, you should be able to find something good
Everything.
of everything.
You go to one street corner, you find a Middle Eastern cart. You go down the block, you find a barbecue place. You go up the block, you can have your Costco pizza and White Castle.
It's so cheap as well in the U.S. Like, I don't know why people cook themselves almost, but I guess your groceries are also cheaper than ours.
Probably.
Yeah, we have a pretty good variety, especially if you get near the places that grow food.
I mean, it is still more cost effective to cook because you can get more meals out of it than
Yeah.
It's like I saw some guys who were like expats who live in Japan talk about it's like they say cooking on your own is ridiculously expensive in Japan. Like cooking at home, it is always cheaper to go out. For example, like a bell pepper in England or in the US, one of them says would be like, I don't know, 25 cents, 50 cents, whatever, and in Japan it's like $2 per pepper.
Fruits and vegetables are really expensive in Japan. I had a teacher once, she described living in Japan for like 6 months, and she was vegan and she refused to buy fruit because it was that expensive.
Yeah, fruit is like they said, fruit is the worst. That's like outrageous. It's like $6 for an apple or something. And they said it's because like in Japan everything has like a story, and like this one prefecture is the best at doing apples, and then that's the only apple the supermarket sells. And because it's from this place, it's super expensive. While, like he said, like if back in England, for 25 cents or 50 cents, you can get an apple. He has to pay $6 for an apple in Japan, and it's just like, and he can go out and get a meal at a restaurant or a takeaway or a ramen place for like a third of what it would cost to make.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a lot of agricultural land that makes it easier that Japan kind of doesn't.
I was gonna say, if you take an apple pie to Japan, it sounds like you make an easy $100 right there.
I've never had a real apple pie, but I've been thinking about making it. Try it out.
Apple pies are kind of bullshit, in my opinion. I don't really like them.
I much prefer pumpkin pie.
Yes. Pumpkin pie should be
my grandmother used to
pie.
make a delightful apple pie that even I would eat if I was in the mood for it, which I rarely was, but
I never liked the textures of the apples. It's like I like everything about it except for the main ingredient. So it's just like I'm gonna have pumpkin pie instead. I mean, I love apples themselves, but like cooking.
I've always been partial to pumpkin pie.
Like apple pie a la mode, I think, with ice cream, right? Like a hot apple pie with ice cream. That sounds delicious.
Yes, that is nice.
That's in that list of baseball, American.
Baseball is also kind of bullshit. It's so fucking boring.
Hot apple pie, but you go away.
It is boring.
I mean, it's certainly a slow paced. I mean, it's kind of like golf, right? I guess like, if you're into it, you're into it.
Golf is boring.
The purpose of golf is to play dress up and get drunk, as far as I can tell. There's some people who are actually really good at it, but most everyone else is just like, I'm here to day drink.
I could do that on mini golf. Thank you very much.
That is so much better.
I do enjoy mini golf quite.
Yeah.
Mini golf, that is fun.
Yeah, because it's supposed to have like a bunch of. I mean, it's more interesting. They do weird like courses and decorations and shit. Mini golf is fun.
And it's the great equalizer. Fucking nobody's getting through the clown head in more than one shot. So.
Oh, everybody has the clown head. We have
somewhere some variant. Some of them have scaled back. Like some of the mini golf places these days that you find are kind of lame. But when you find a good one where they deck it all out and they've got like 2 separate courses, so you have to like steal your ball back before it gets in the hole if you want to go sneak to play the other one. Good times. But you got to go to like a. I mean, I don't want to limit it to this, but places like Ocean City in Maryland or the Shore down in Jersey, you know, beachy towns will have better because that's a tourist attraction. You'll get families there all day long.
Oh yeah. Speaking of fast food and cost of food, I just had a thought. How much is a sundae in the like at McDonald's in the US?
Like $1.
Man,
What, the ice cream sundae thing?
Yeah,
I mean, if you want to call that a sundae, if you whatever the dollar
That's
menu
what it's
version
called.
is,
but yeah,
which is basically just vanilla ice cream with some
yes,
chocolate syrup on it.
Yeah.
Or
Or someone
quickly
just
becomes rock hard, but yeah, it
No.
should be like
Yeah, to me, an actual sundae requires at least 3 components. It requires the whipped cream as well.
I do not disagree. It's just that's what they call it. I was just because they just raised the price again with inflation and stuff, and it's now almost $3
Yeah, I don't
for a Sunday.
know. I don't get my ice cream from McDonald's, so
Yeah, I
couldn't
don't.
tell
I
you.
don't remember the
They have
pricing.
better ice cream at McDonald's here than they do in the US because it's actually quite decent. The soft ice from McDonald's.
Yeah, but we have ice cream trucks that'll come around and give us good soft ice cream for $3. So
They took away the chocolate taco.
We still have chocolate
that's a
toppings.
marketing ploy. They took it away so that everyone can have outrage and they can bring it back.
Yeah, just like they did with the
slightly
Mexican
higher
pizza,
price.
which I was so enraged when they took that away, and then I brought it back, and so I went and ate it, and it was like way more disappointing than I expected.
Mhm.
Is that like the pizza I made with the corn?
No.
Oh.
No.
You don't make
No.
pizza. You make dough with a bunch of shit on top of it.
What's a Domino's
Mexican-
recipe? That has to be American.
No, it doesn't. They're pandering to you
Just-
people who think that like wheat and a vegetable on top makes a pizza.
Corn
don't
really does
understand.
not belong on pizza. Or tortilla chips.
Well, I mean,
good.
it's closer to tortilla chips because it'll be a Mexican staple. Corn.
Yeah, so, but the Mexican pizza is more like a, was it tostada with like extra stuff?
What's a tostada?
The Mexican food that you
Say-
do not have.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a crunchy tortilla type thing.
Yeah, like almost all Mexican food is just like, can the tortilla be in a slightly different shape or texture, but
Still good.
Like imagine a flat taco shell with taco stuff on it.
yeah,
Taco shells aren't Mexican, but you know what a taco shell is.
The crunchy ones or the soft ones?
The crunchy.
crunchy
Well, in this case, crunchy because it's a tostada.
Use tostada. Yeah.
because it is toasted.
If it's a
I
soft shell,
assume
then
is what
it's
that
a
word means.
burrito and you're wrapping it
I've
up.
made
Or,
Mexican food from like recipes from scratch, and it turned out pretty good. I guess it's but I refuse to put cilantro in there because that's just disgusting.
so you're one of those. It tastes like soap people.
I love
It
cilantro.
does not taste good.
Cilantro is
I'll tell you
amazing.
What it tastes like, not
Cilantro
good.
is wonderful. Cilantro is one of the best plants in terms of taste.
Yeah, but it's literally the most divisive one because of the gene that makes you
So-
either hate it or like it.
My husband has a weird thing, like the 23andMe thing that we did. It's just like he might have the gene for it to taste like soap, but and then when he was just wondering about it because he loves cilantro. It was like it does kind of taste antiseptic, but he loves it. So it's just like
Well, it's like an allergy. It could potentially develop stronger as it gets older. It could be just the difference. You know, some people react to pollen more than others, even though everybody reacts to pollen, more or less. So it'll depend. If he's 70 and he's still scarfing it down, then he
Oh.
had a good life, I guess. Up to him.
tasty.
Yeah.
I really want Indian food now with the garlic naan because they also put a ton of cilantro on it.
Well,
Lots
you
of
got
garlic.
2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to go. I believe in you to hold out.
hmm And I made.
I just had that when I went to Disney last week. Was it last week? Last week. And you know, it was the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot. So one of the stands is Indian, so I got tikka masala.
Good solid choice. Granted, it's British, but who cares?
Lots of things are British, including this country. And Andreas is, even though he wants to pretend otherwise.
I'm not going to comment on that. Don't forget to pay for our Patreon and get
So that we can afford more food and Andreas can sit there eating his corn pizza.
No, so we can I can afford a plane ticket, and I can fly over to all the U.S. guys on this podcast, and they can show me real food.
You are going to need several plane tickets if you think you're meeting up.
And
with
I
a
will,
vegan trip.
Yeah.
I'll give EG credit here. If you're going to fly anywhere in the U.S. for good food of any kind, it has to be New York City. Because
And
everywhere else
the
has
credit goes
regional
to me
specialty.
because I built New York City myself. So thank you.
With all bare hands.
It was all
Right.
me.
Everywhere else has like 5 or 6 things they do well, but New York City has everyone. So
Right.
Mm,
And if
most
you go to the
metropolitan
director's
areas.
house, you're not going to leave the house except to get Indian food, and you're never going to do anything else
We're just all gonna meet up at EG's place, and then we'll have a feast.
at my place. No, my place is not the city. My place is on the outskirts of the city, so we have to still go into the city. I
We'll
mean,
have some,
you can find plenty of shit here in Brooklyn, don't get me wrong, but
we'll have some whole wheat Cheerios and put them in our hefty bags or something. I don't know.
I mean, I got multigrain Cheerios. I'll take that as a
multigrain.
snack.
That's what I meant. Multigrain Cheerios. There's a lot of sugar in that.
Don't care. It's good.
Okay.
It's a lot of sugar and a lot of cereals I like. What's your point?
Yeah, and next week, Dresden Files. I don't think it's
Where we
topic
don't have a topic again.
that's been set. We'll figure something, and the week
Hmm.
after that, we're discussing Gideon the Ninth, a book series. So we're going to read all 3 books.
I'm
So
sorry,
if,
I mean,
if
Wait, we
anyone-
are reading all 3 books?
Well,
is the
I
third one
am.
even out?
no, it comes out September 13th, and so we were trying to line things up, and so that we would be right on top of when it does come out.
Good.
But
Good for us.
yes,
Probably read
we
the
had
first one.
planning, and if we had stuck to the schedule, we would have been like on the trend of content creators. Like, yes, we're on this thing. Give us attention, and then we still had to push
we're
it
going
off.
to be
even
like,
though-
it's going to be like 14 days after or something now, right? It's not that bad.
Which is apparently how long these people need to read books. So
yeah. How long did it take you to read it? Even
me,
yeah, like how much time total?
on and off for 9 hours.
Jeez,
Nice.
that's fast. I mean, that is really fast.
Yeah, when I messaged you guys, that was when I finished it like 5 minutes beforehand last night at 10:45. So
So by the time that I'd asked on your progress, you said, "I'll see what I can do tomorrow." You hadn't even started it at all.
No.
Impressive.
I read it all yesterday.
I got through the first 5 chapters.
Yeah, you still got a long way
You've
to
got
go.
2
That's-
weeks.
That's a pretty long section of the book. I did it in like 2 hours.
I'll admit it picks up after that, but
Oh, good. Okay, good. Good.
It picked up for me around the party thing.
The second book.
Mm. Mm.
what
We haven't gotten to the
the
second
wedding,
book yet.
the anniversary.
Yeah.
Hush, hush.
Well,
no, more,
I mean, there's a reason for that though.
no more comments.